Let me say, at the early hour of 2 a.m., armed bandits entered Bethel Baptist High School in Damishi town in the Kujama district of Chikun local government, where they made away with about 140 pupils, students who were in their dormitories. And fortunately for 28 number of students, they escaped from the hands of the adoptees. But as we speak, we still have 125 in the hands of their adopters. Now, it's very sad that this is not the first time institutions like schools are being attacked in my constituency. If you remember, the Greenfield University is still under my constituency, where 23 students were kidnapped. And at the end of the day, in their press and desperation to get ransom payment, which was over 300 million, which they demanded. And of course, there was no way the parents of those students could raise that money. So to show how serious they were, they killed 5 of the students. I visited some of the families, and they told me their frustration and their trauma. At that time, the remaining were still in the hands of their adopters. And at the end of the day, the parents had to rally down to get money and pay for these students to be released. As I speak to you, the school has been closed. There is no more academic activities going on there. That happened in April. Now, this one that happened just yesterday is just one of the numerous incidences. I will tell you that if you look at the way they are happening, they are such in sequence that it's almost every day. In Iri, that's on 3rd of this very month, a village called Iri in Keju local government, 16 people were adopted, 3 were killed. As I speak to you, these people are still in the hands of their adopters, and what they are asking of is 100 million. As I speak to you, April 23rd, I have my paper. 2 nurses were adopted who were on duty in Idon General Hospital. I have visited the family, and from their conversation with the adopters, they told them that they've gotten staff. They are never going to release those nurses. That those nurses will be working for them to treat their wounded members who are wounded in the battle with the military or with the security agencies. So the hope of them coming back, I don't know what magic can take place. But I'll tell you, my constituency is overwhelmed. On an on-side note, let me also say 2 security personnel were killed yesterday who wanted to prevent the kidnapping in the Bethel Baptist High School. So 2 of them were killed. But authoritatively, I can tell you the number of security men that went there were just around 10, while the bandits were numbering even in hundreds. Ladies and gentlemen, I will tell you again, in Kakao, just 10 days ago, they went to Angwama Adaki. They kidnapped nearly 18 people, and they demanded for 200 million from that community, Angwama Adaki. 200 million. The chief called me, and he asked me if I could assist them. Now, gentlemen, I was taken aback because I didn't even know where to start from. Where do I raise 200 million to help? So we started negotiation, because the best thing to do is to negotiate. So they negotiated, and they said they must bring up to 150 million. And the man who was negotiating with them told them that the community does not have that money. Now, in their desperation, the next day they said, okay, they want to teach him an example. They told them where they will go and pick the corpse of the adoptees. 5 of them, they killed them and dropped them at a particular area. I have the pictures I can show. They were killed. I'm very, very emotional because I ask myself, what is the joy of being elected when I cannot prevent the killing of my people, when the government is overwhelmed? If I tell you what happened, the trauma I received yesterday morning when this thing happened, a woman just called me. I didn't even know her number. And let me say, ordinarily, sometimes I may not even pick a number I don't know. But I just said, this call has been consistent. Let me see, let me know who. The moment I picked the call, the voice of that woman was, is that how you people are going to allow us to be killed? Our children will be adopted? Is that what you are in government to do for us? But her child was one of the children that was taken from Bethel Baptist School. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are in my shoes, what will you tell them? What will you tell them? Times without number, if some of you can remember, and I don't intend to massage anybody's ego. Honestly, the government has failed in terms of providing security for my constituent. I will speak particularly for my constituent. If there's anything said we are doing our best, I would say their best is not good enough for us. Their best is a failure. Their best, which they term as best they can give Nigerians, is a failure. And let's say it. How long shall we continue this way? Are we going to continue to live like this? As I speak to you today, to prevent this thing happening, Kaduna State government has closed down 13 schools. Very soon, children are going to write WAEC. And they don't have lectures. They are going to sit at home to write. Are we thinking of the future of these children? Now, if you look at their own case, it's even better because they are talking of writing exams. How about those children that have been adopted? Will they think of exams? They are thinking of their safety. And every leader of concern should think of their safety. How are they feeding there? The trauma they will go through. I'm very sure some of them may not come back same again. They may not be the same people. Ladies and gentlemen, for me, and I'll say it, the military is overwhelmed. The federal government is overwhelmed. And my greatest call, that even the greatest of nations seek for assistance. Even America, depending on what they want, they seek for assistance. Why can't we in this country call a spade and said we are overwhelmed? Let nations that are willing come to help us. Why? Is it because we are hiding something? Yes. If we are not hiding something, why can't we call developed nations that are willing to join hands? China does a lot of business with Nigeria. Is it for economic interest alone? Why not for military interest? Why not for protection of property and safety of Nigerians? Are they interested in only building roads, which is a profit venture? What are they giving back to the nation? What are they giving back to the nation? So for me, except we are hiding something, that we don't want developed nations to come. I remember, gentlemen, there was an American citizen that was kidnapped. American, I don't know how they did it. He was, I mean, how would they call it? How will I call it? The Americans sent what they did, and they rescued him from the hands of adopters. One American citizen. When will the life of one Nigerian matters to us? When? Is it when we are all killed? For me, if there are moles in the military and they cannot be exposed, it means that the moles are stronger than the government. That's an evidence of failure of state. Do you want to be like Mexico, where drug cartel, kill at random, at will? Today, if I tell you that place that these children how long will they go in 10 minutes that they cannot be rescued? I am not a military expert, but if you are called a general in the military, it is assumed that all tactics of conventional warfare and unconventional warfare, you should be an authority. Has the military run out of ideas? Because I ask, they will tell you they know where these children or all these kidnapped people are taken to. Now, they will say if they attack, there will be collateral damages. So attacking that place is the only solution they have on the table. So we don't have a solution. For me, the military, the police have failed the members of my constituency. They have failed us. Our fate is now in the hands of God. I want you gentlemen, please, to ask these very important questions. How long shall we continue before we get a solution to the adoption of our children? Is it until 2 million or 200,000 schools are attacked? Is not one too many that we should see tangible results? The children of Greenfield University spend nearly 8 weeks in the hands of their adopters. Today, we are talking of Bethel Baptist High School. Only God knows how long they will remain. And even that of the Greenfield University, the parents paid ransom. You saw it on telly. I saw it on channel. They said they paid. I'm not an advocate of paying kidnappers because it will embolden them more. They'll buy more weapons. But I think that's why we have a military. There must be strategies that we can cope these insistent killings and adoption. Ladies and gentlemen, I will stop on this note, but there are a lot of questions to be asked. And the press is the best vanguard to ask questions. When will this end? I remember with sadness, the children of Kagara in Niger State are still with their adopters, the Islamic school in Kagara. They're still with their adopters. Children as young as 7, 8 years. And we come here and pretend all is well? Do we really have a country? Do we have a government that will protect us? Ask any member here. When we want to go to the northern part, as long as we are passing through Abuja Kaduna Road, we are scared. Some of us go with convoy of security. So the poor man should die. Because the poor man cannot afford the security. He has to go through public transport. As I speak to you now, this morning as I was in the chamber, authoritatively, they attacked members of my constituency in Kujama, that same area where Bethel Baptist High School were adopted. They killed 3 people. Yes, near Nigerian prison school in Kujama, prison farms in Kujama. This morning, please, let me ask this question. If any of you have passed through Abuja Kaduna Road, how many stops, military stops do you see? I can't remember seeing any. Yes, I can't remember seeing any. And I want to ask this question. Let's be very sincere to our conscience. When Kaduna Airport was closed and VIPs were afraid from Kaduna to Abuja or from Abuja to Kaduna, where were there not attacks? Because VIPs were on the road. Why? Why were there no attacks? Do you remember any attack? That the VIPs were conveyed from Kaduna to Abuja? It never happened. Members of the press, please help us. We need answers. Nigerians want answers. And the government has a responsibility to answer us. Because this is democracy. Including myself. Nigerians deserve answers from us. If we have failed, we should be able to say it. There's nothing like it is a shame to say I failed. I failed, you look for help. The moment you don't want to accept that you failed, then you are not going to look for help. Then Nigerians will be the one to suffer for it. Gentlemen, I will just pray. My prayer for you, please, I want you to help me. Pray for these children, for their safe return. Because I'm not seeing light at the end of the tunnel. I pray they will all return intact. Thank you very much.